You do, take a break, stretch, 3 hours of weight training, and then cardio, and then, try to sleep as much as possible and eat boiled chicken breast every 2 hours, which is not very good. But that's how you get that body.
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about Jason Momoa's body transformation for Aquaman and what I believe he did specifically to prepare for that role. So going back to the beginning to see the genetic baseline for Jason Momoa, we can see at 22 years old in Baywatch, he's not a rail by any means. He has a bit of muscle on him. He has a good chest. He has almost visible abs here, probably like 14 to 15% body fat with, a bit of muscle tone considering the fact that he doesn't work out with weights whatsoever. And moving forward to his role in Stargate Atlantis at 27 years old, we can see that his physique hasn't really progressed at all. He still has basically the exact same body composition as he did in Baywatch. Moving forward though to Conan the Barbarian in 2011 at 31, this is where his physique started to really take on an impressive leanness with simultaneous size. He did pack on a decent amount of muscle for this role. You can see it mostly in his chest, which I think is a genetic strong point. His abs are more visible than they previously were, and he has a bit of size packed on his frame in general. I believe that Jason is more so closer to an ectomorph, but has a bit of a meso structure. He has a big frame. He's a tall dude. He seems to pack on size fairly easily considering how tall he is. He fills out pretty well considering, and most guys are just going to look like a rail at that height with that low of body fat, being relatively untrained. And we can see that he regressed in Game of Thrones a bit, as well as in his roles moving forward prior to his first appearance as Aquaman, but just owning in on the role in Conan a bit more, because I think this is where his physique pretty much peaked. Aside from his recent appearances as Aquaman, we can get a bit more insight into the training and the diet that went into preparing for this role.
He was training me. We were doing about 6 hours of training a day, but we're doing like 2 hours of sword work, and then we would go to take a break, stretch, 3 hours of weight training, and then cardio, and then try to sleep as much as possible and eat boiled chicken breast every 2 hours, which is not very good. But that's how you get that body.
So Jason says he did 6 hours of training a day to prepare for Conan, and 3 of those were weight training. So a lot of these celebrity transformations, they pretty much had the same ridiculous overtraining schedule. I don't know where these celebrity trainers get their qualifications, what kind of justification they have behind their strategies, but more often than not, we see the exact same stupid protocols being given out, with like an overabundance of resistance training to the point where they're going to be completely wiped out for whatever choreography, sword training, MMA training, fighting, whatever it is that they have to do for their actual movie role. It's just a severe amount of overtraining. And then this micronutrient deficient model we see again and again with the chicken and fucking rice and broccoli. Like, what is it with these trainers? I don't get it. Like, you're not going to support adequate muscle growth in a natural with this micronutrient deficient diet model, in addition to this excessive amount of training. 3 hours a day is completely unnecessary. And frankly, this entire transformation I would assert is natural. And the only thing that makes me think that it might not be is the fact that he was overtraining so much, eating such a terrible diet, and then still was able to pack on as much muscle as he did. And I think with Jason's genetics, he has the frame, he has, I believe, the genetic response for it. Based on my educated guess, I would say it was probably natural for transforming for Conan. But again, it's on the fence considering the kind of stuff these trainers have these guys do. Like, if I take a natural and he has like 3 hours or 2 to 3 hours of choreography and sword work and stretching and all this bullshit, I'm not going to give him fucking chicken breast every 2 hours and train him into the ground for 3 hours with weights every day with no rest days. Like, it just makes no sense. You don't need more than an hour of weights with effective training and no, fucking around 4 to 5 days a week. Like, that's more than sufficient to stimulate enough muscle growth, especially in an untrained newbie. Like, he said himself, he doesn't train with weights, and the first time he trained with weights was preparing for this role. So again, that kind of reinforces my belief that it was natural as well, because he was completely untrained prior, so he would experience that surge of newbie gains for this role. But again, it's just piss poor way of going about it, in my opinion. It's just a shame that these celebrities keep getting these trainers given to them. They assume they're experts, but it's clear that the majority of them follow the same ridiculous ridiculous like dogma that has gone through the bodybuilding community and been shit out the other side, where people just have realized the shortcomings of it and how it's hindering their progress rather than helping them. And he would have been far better served and probably got a better body composition to boot if he followed a smarter protocol in the end. But as far as natural or not, I believe he was natural for Conan. And then moving forward to his closer to mid 30s, he gets through a couple more roles, and his physique obviously has regressed because he's probably not weight training 3 hours a day anymore. He's not following a crazy diet model. Like, it's going to get you results, don't get me wrong, but is it the optimal way to go about things? No, it's not. And when you are trying to support recovery of that excessive of a protocol, it would almost require steroids at that point to actually get your body through it with adequate recovery and to grow optimally, considering the amount of volume and excessiveness and just the deficiencies in the whole protocol design itself. But anyways, with that being said, going to Bad Batch in 2016 at 36 years old, again, his physique is good. Like, this guy has a great baseline as far as his frame and the way he kind of like fills out. Even when he is soft, he doesn't have any visible abs. He still, looks fairly muscular to the average person. This guy is just basically climbs and surfs and doesn't really do anything weights wise, and he still has great chest, great muscular, filled out with muscle pretty much everywhere. Big broad frame, big tall dude. Almost takes on a bit of what you would consider a traditional mesomorph would look like as a natural, in my opinion. And then going forward to his roles in Batman vs. Superman, this is actually something I should have noted on first, where he made a cameo. Here you can't actually see what his physique really looks like, but this is his first appearance as Aquaman, so it's notable nonetheless. Here he just basically jabs the camera and then flies off, and we don't really see what his physique looks like, but we get a glimpse into the fact that he's going to become Aquaman. And moving forward to Justice League, we can actually see some of his training footage, and this is where I think his physique peaked personally, and we can see what he actually looks like training, and we can see a bit more delt progression. His back is pretty lean. We can see striations almost. We can see a bit of a Christmas tree coming in. We can see him displaying more muscle detail than he has in the past, and even more visible abs than he did have in the Conan movie. So more detail, more muscle in general, in my opinion, and a bit more muscle maturity as well. That should be noted. And the thing is it doesn't look like an enhanced physique. Now, granted, the telltale signs of an enhanced physique aren't always apparent in individuals, but just relative to what he has achieved in the past with what I presume to be natural hormones as opposed to exogenous hormone use, I think this is the peak of his condition. You can see here just doing the one arm lat pull downs here. The six pack is in. He has a bit of striations in his lats almost. He has good muscle detail, like I said, and probably packed on about 5 pounds of muscle since the Conan movie. So definitely his peak physique right here, and it definitely shows in the movie. It's not like he's shredded by any means, but for a natural, it's very, very impressive nonetheless. And this is kind of what I think his physique would be topped out, capable of achieving naturally without any hormone use. I don't think he took any hormones for this role either. And we can see in the Batman meets Aquaman scene in Justice League what his physique looks like at its peak. This is the image everyone always refers to when they show, oh, did he take gear? Did he not take gear? The guy has, he's kind of a genetic freak. He's tall, he's broad, he is, I think, is capable of supporting this transformation naturally, and he evidently is willing to put in the work with the amount of time he puts into this and the adherence to the diet model he mentioned, as well as how he went on like a binge after preparing for the role because he was sticking to his diet so hard and it was so difficult to adhere to. But he did, and it obviously is reflected in his physique. And again, the chest is definitely a genetic strong point for him, and it's kind of what makes the physique, in my opinion, because the rest of it is not overly impressive. Like, he's filled out the frame, so he looks muscular. He's a tanned guy. His arms are filled out, but it's not like he's shredded to the point where he's like single digit body fat percentage. He's probably like 12 to 13%, slightly leaner, perhaps close to what he was in Conan, even though in the training footage it seems to indicate otherwise. It's probably more so just that he was doing like flexing movement, so his abs are more apparent, as well as just the fact that he's in what appears to be ice water in the scene rather than, hot and sweaty in a gym where all your detail is brought out with far more exaggerated. But here we see great chest, great frame in general, just a muscular guy, but nothing that indicates performance enhancing drug use, in my opinion. I think this transformation was supported naturally. And going forward to the actual Aquaman movie, I also think that if anything, his physique might have regressed a bit. I don't think it improved at all. At best, it's exactly the same as the previous movie. But again, nothing that I don't think this guy couldn't have supported naturally. He's a genetic specimen for sure, and the frame and the amount of muscle he packed on, I don't think is anything that couldn't have been achieved with good genetic response to diet and training. Like, he's maybe packed on 20 to 25 pounds of muscle since his early 20s. It's nothing that's crazy. It's not like this guy packed on 40 to 50 pounds in a 6 to 8 week period or something ridiculous, or a 6-month bulk where he gained like 40 pounds of what appears to be fat-free mass. This guy made a fairly natural progression, in my opinion, based on what I can see, where he had a good genetic baseline with a decent muscle tone, and then he gained probably 15 to 20 pounds of fat-free mass, maybe 25, in a realistic time frame, and just what appears to be just good natural progression, in my opinion. So take from that what you will. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think this was achieved naturally, or do you think he took something like testosterone to prepare for Conan as well as his appearances as Aquaman? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplates.moredates.com. Hit the notification bell to stay updated whenever I post. Check me out on Instagram, follow me there at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, BitChute, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, wherever I am. Talk to you guys soon.